Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal, and this is your latest transfer news. We have an update on Nico Williams from Team News and Ticks. We'll be going through that. What's the latest on Thomas Partey's future and our midfield situation? We have an update on that as well as Edin Nketiah and Smith Rowe. Who will be the first to leave? Where will they be heading to? We'll be talking about that as well. But first, let's start with Nico Williams, and this is the latest reports on him from Team News and Ticks. I spoke to someone at the club who reiterated we absolutely love him and will take a chance if we get it. I have heard rumors Arsenal are due to speak to Nico Williams this week. So now, this is a tough one. Nico Williams to Arsenal is going to be a very, very tough one. I do believe we're going to hold the talks. Actually, a couple of, I think 3 weeks ago, Fabrizio says that he said that Arsenal had already held talks with like the agents and the people close to Nico Williams and asked them, "Hey, would you like to like come to Arsenal? Do you have any other plans? Would you like to stay at Bilbao?" And then I don't know what happened. We never got an answer in terms of what the other discussions were, but that was what Fabrizio Romano reported 3 weeks ago. Like we had talks with these entourage. Now, Team Isn't says that Arsenal are going to have talks directly with Nico Williams this week, which would be good. You have to try. You rather try than say, nah, he's just definitely going to join Barcelona. Let's forget about him now. If there's an opportunity of trying to convince him to join your team, you absolutely do that. And then if he says no, that is absolutely fine, as long as you know that you tried and you tried to convince him. You put the project on the table and you told him you're going to do this, you're going to be paid this and that, all that, absolutely fine. Even if he rejects it, it's absolutely fine. Now, I still think this is going to be a very, very difficult deal to do for a lot of reasons. The fact that he's not going to come back until like August because Spain reached all the way to the final. We're not going to get him until August. Even if we had the opportunity of getting him, it's going to be difficult. Number two, teams like Barcelona want him, and it depends. We don't know. This is just assuming. For me, I'm just assuming he'd like to stay in Spain, close to his brother and the rest of his family. Most of those players from Sociedad and Betis and Sevilla and Bilbao, most of them would like to play for Real Madrid or Barcelona. That has always been their dream to play for those teams. So I'm assuming they would want to, go and it's a dream for them to play at those teams. And on top of that, he's played with Lamine Yamal at Spain, and they've had a very good relationship there. Would you want to go and have that, every single week, every single throughout the season, every single day throughout the season? That would be absolutely phenomenal if they are playing together at the club level every single day. So that is just me assuming that there's a lot of reasons pointing out to him wanting to join Barcelona, as well as him basically saying he likes Barcelona as a kid and all that. So for me, I think he'd want to go to Barcelona, but we don't know about that. That's just assuming. Maybe he doesn't want to go and, have that pressure, Barcelona. Maybe he wants to, a new adventure, different country. Maybe he doesn't want to have that, that thing about him and Yamal and all these Spanish players. Maybe he wants to separate himself and have his own career path. No one knows. Maybe he wants to separate himself from his brother. Who knows? No one knows what the plan is for Nico Williams, but it's just assuming. So those are the few reasons why I feel like it's very difficult to get it done. But in terms of if Barcelona were not in the picture and Nico Williams said, "Hey, listen, I'm interested to join the Premier League. Let me know what you guys are offering," then at that point it will be very interesting. He has a release clause of around £45 million. The £45 million is a release clause. If there wasn't any clause, and like you would just ask, they were just asking for like 50-60 million. After those hero performances, him scoring in the final and him having an incredible tournament throughout, they'd have been asking for like 90 million right now. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure like they don't even want to lose him for 45 million. I'm sure Bilbao tried to like convince him to stay up until next season at least, so that they can get a significant amount of money for him, because 45 million is a bargain for Nico Williams, a player of his age, a player who's already now won the Euros, a player who's looking like in the next 2 years he'll be absolutely explosive and unstoppable. He can play on the left side, he can play on the right side. I see why he's asking for those kind of wages, 250 kind of thousand or 300,000, something like that. He's asking for a lot of wages as well. I do think by the next 2 years he'll be that kind of player. So will we be able to attract him to Arsenal? If Barcelona out of the picture, Chelsea and Liverpool are also interested. But my worry is usually Man City and Real Madrid, and then in this case of Nico Williams, Barcelona. But all the West these days, Chelsea, United, Juventus, I'm like, no, if they want him, we also want him. We can get the player. Why not? You can try and convince the player to, to join us. It doesn't have to go to those other teams. We can convince him to join us. So There's still a chance. There's still a chance. I wouldn't put too much hope on this one. I've said 99% Calafiori will join Arsenal. Last season, I said 95% Declan Rice will join Arsenal. For the Nico Williams one, it's not pointing out on to our way because we don't know if he wants to join Arsenal anyway, and that is a major factor that Atene do usually look for. Does the player want to come and play for you first of all, or are they like, nah, I'm just going to come for the money, or the ones who are paying me more money, I'm going to come there? I don't know now. Which kind of impact would he have at us? I think it'd have a big impact. A lot of people have been saying, do we really need him? Are we going to play him? What happens to Martinelli and Trossard? Score depth doesn't necessarily mean because Nico Williams joins Arsenal, we are going to have to sell Martinelli, anything like that. No, Man City have the likes of Grealish, Doku, Foden, Bernardo Silva, all these players playing on the wings, De Bruyne, Kovacic, Mateus Nunes. Foden can also play in the midfield slots. Alvarez is there. You need squad depth. You need squad depth. That doesn't necessarily mean because if Man City buy a defender today, it means they have to sell Stones. No, squad depth. You have to add to your team and you have to have several options. And Nico Williams would add to our team. Now, is it the priority? We've been told that if we get a winger, it's going to be Nico Williams, but is it the priority for us? That is why I don't know. Should we be going for a striker first? For me, I feel like you need a midfielder first. Would you be happy if we spent, 50 million plus 280,000 per week on Nico Williams and then we don't sign a striker? If that is a possibility, would you be happy with that? I think Nico Williams would definitely bring add quality to our team. He scored, I think, 8 goals and 17 assists last season, 25 goal contributions. That is a lot. And at the years, you've seen how good he is. He can score left foot, right foot. He can contribute a lot to the team. So he would be a good signing for sure. If you sign a player like Nico Williams, you're sending messages to the other teams. I would take him 100%, even if it happens right now before a midfielder or striker. I would take him. But the worry you have to have is if we sign Nico Williams, I don't think we also go and get a striker. I really don't think, if we get a striker, we get a very cheap striker, like 20 million or something like that. I think that could be the case. I can't see us. I saw someone saying, let's sign Nico Williams as then a striker. That is not going to happen. That is like a lot of money, and in terms of kind of same positions, attacking positions, I think they're going to balance it out. You're going to get Calafiori, and then maybe you're going to get a wing, and then you're going to get a midfielder, depending on how it works out. But that's the list for Nico Williams, according to Team News and Ticks. He says that we are planning to hold talks this week, and we were told by Ghana Blog a couple of days ago, if asked not to sign a wide player, Nico Williams would be Mikel Arteta's preferred. So I don't know if we don't sign him, if we have any other options in terms of the defenders, the midfielders, the wingers, or are we just going to let it go and, not focus on the wingers if we don't get Nico Williams? That will be interesting. Now, let's talk about, let me bring on Reece Nelson, bring up Reece Nelson. I didn't have him on the graphics, but I just read 2 minutes ago that Arsenal want 15 to 20 million pounds for him. And West Ham are looking at him. West Ham are definitely looking at him. So let's see how that one goes. If they're going to be willing to pay that kind of money, he's definitely not going to play. With us being linked to players, Nico Williams and Saka is still there, and Martinelli, Trossard is still there. I don't think Nelson is going to get an opportunity. Although the likes of Saka are not there up until August, so it's going to be interesting to see who we play in those swinger positions. Even Trossard is not back yet, Martinelli is not back yet. It's going to be interesting to see who we use on those wings, especially in the first game against Bournemouth in preseason. We don't have any of our wingers, Saka, Trossard, Martinelli, none of them is there. So let's see who is going to be used. And Nelson could have been sold by then. Another player who's looking very likely to be sold before he comes to the midfield situation is Emil Smith-Rowe. And the latest on him, this is what is being reported in Smith-Rowe from Teenies and as well. Fulham are thought to be preparing a second bid for Emil Smith-Rowe. However, it will have to be a significant improvement on their first bid, which was described as horrendous. Crystal Palace are also expected to make an offer for the player. So the first bid was described as horrendous. The first bid was like, I had the bid 30 million pounds. So if it's a significant amount in terms of increase, then Arsenal is looking at 42 million pounds, not them increasing 1 million or 2 million and offering us 32 million. No, Arsenal want like 40 million plus added things there. Maybe a sell-on clause if Fulham come and sell him in the next couple of years, or a buyback clause, or bonuses if he goes and makes a certain number of appearances and doesn't get affected with injuries. I think that Arsenal want to include a lot of things in the contract, and I don't know if Fulham would accept that. Now, we probably wouldn't get that kind of money from too many teams. So if Fulham get close to like that 6 million, I think we'll have to consider it. But for me, Smith doesn't really have to leave. But for a player that I don't expect us to use a lot next season anyway, if we can get that money and use it to get a striker, use it to fund the Nico Williams transfer, I'd be okay with that. I want him to get a good team. If he can end up staying in London and playing for Fulham, I think that would be great for him. He can go there and become, not just a role player, but a very important player in the team. I think that would be great for him. They've already sold, I think, Reed from Fulham, and maybe a couple of other players will leave, so there'll be an opportunity there for Emil Smith-Rowe. But Team News and Tick says Fulham and Crystal Palace are, preparing better offers. So let's hope if it's sorted out before the preseason. Let's not carry it all the way to August. But it's not that one is not in our hands. That one is up to Fulham and Crystal Palace and how quickly they want to get him. But Smith is looking very likely every single day, more and more likely that he's going to leave Arsenal. Let's see how it will go. Now let's go back to the midfield situation. This is what has been reported today. Arsenal are keen to strengthen central midfield if opportunity arises. They have closely followed Joao Neves as well as Mikel Merino and Martin Zubimendi. The current thinking is that a significant midfield arrival may require Thomas Partey to be sold. This is according to Ghana Blog. Now, I've always said since day one, there's only like a couple of players that can be like, okay, this is a significant, replacement for Partey. Maybe a Kimmich or Bruno Guimaraes or someone like that. I didn't even feel like, if you're getting Douglas Luiz, I still felt like you need to keep Partey. If you're getting Joao Neves, I still feel you need to get to keep Partey. If you're getting Merino, you need to keep Partey. Now, does Merino count as what's the word they've used? Does significant midfield arrival? Does Merino count as that, or does it just count as just an addition? For me, if I see Merino as an addition, a player who can play as a number 6, he can deputize for Partey, can play together with Partey, can play together with Rice, he can come on for Rice, he can start and Rice gets the rest. That is how I see Merino as an addition to the team, not a replacement for anyone. I don't think Merino could be a replacement for Partey, a replacement for Rice, and I still think we'd need more. If Partey left and Merino joined, I still need more in midfield. Now, I've not watched Merino regularly. Maybe if I watched him for a full 38 games in La Liga, I'd be like, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he can actually sit in that number 6 position and help us through the season. In terms of physicality, incredible. In terms of the duels won, he's the best in that midfield position. But there's more to do in the number 6 role. You sometimes just need to stay there and protect the defense, be disciplined, those tackles in midfield. Sometimes for us, not even sometimes, for us as a team, we need the number 6 to help us progress the ball. So you need to know how to keep position, control the game for us. You need a controller there. I think Jorginho and Partey do that very well. I'm not 100% sure Merino can do that that well. He prefers to go into the box in the number 8 position. And same with Rice. They prefer going forward, getting involved in the attack, especially Rice. We've seen his quality. Let's not hold him back. Go forward, score goals, assist goals. Merino, I'd prefer him as a number 8, if that explanation. Would he really be able to sit in that midfield position and control everything? The midfield is the engine of the team. If that one is not working, it's a problem. So I don't think Merino would be a replacement for Thomas Partey. So, and I don't think Joao Neves would be a replacement as well. I don't think someone like a Palhinha maybe in terms of just sitting there, but in terms of the way we control the game in midfield, the way we play as a team, we're talking about players like Rodri and players like Kimmich. That's what the players I would sign for Arsenal in midfield. Someone who can just control, good on the ball, good in tackling, good in intercepting, good in positioning. I don't think there's too many of that. We saw Zubimendi for Spain in the final coming on for Rodri. I think he did that well in midfield, but the problem with Zubimendi doesn't really want to leave Sociedad, so that becomes a problem. But I don't think Merino counts as significant replacement. Now, with that said, it does look again that Partey could still end up leaving. No one knows. The thing with Partey and Jesus and those players, I think Jesus will end up staying, but with Partey, it's very up in the air. Like, no one knows whether Partey is going to be here or not. Is he going to stay? Are we going to get a late bid? Are we even waiting for bids? Or are we just like, no, you're not going to sell him? Or is it a case of whether we get 30 million or going to sell him? I don't know, but he is back in training. If he does stay, I think for now he has to be there because we don't have enough players. We don't have Havertz, Trossard, Rice, Saka. I know not all of them are midfielders, but in terms of the number of players that we have, we don't have too many. Even Jorginho is not back, so Partey's pretty much the only midfielder we have because Jorginho and Rice are not there. So he's the one who can play in that position during this preseason. And I'd like to see how he does in preseason. I'm hoping if he does stay, he has an injury-free season or not too many disruptions in terms of injury. one or two where you miss 2-3 games, no problem. But hopefully it's an injury-free season. We'll see in preseason. If preseason starts and then Partey gets injured again, then it's big trouble. But hopefully, he can get through preseason. He can, carry us in that midfield position, and let's see how it works. For me, I want an addition. Keep Partey, bring in another midfielder. Have those two plus Jorginho plus Rice. I think that would be great for us. Another player who's linked to the move away is Edin Nketiah. What's the latest on him? Well, according to reports, Marseille have made Edin Nketiah their priority in attack. The French club are confident of making a deal happen, even with Arsenal's significant demand. So this time in terms of sales, Arsenal is not messing around. They want like 40 million for Smith Rowe. They want like 30, 40 million for Eddie. They want like 25 million for Reece Nelson. And in terms of the contracts, I think there will be things that will be included. Bonuses, add-ons, sell-on clauses, buyback clauses, which is great. We've always been a team that is not great at selling. So let's try and get significant amount of money. Like our record sale is 35 million for Chamberlain. For a team that had Thierry Henry, Van Persie, Alexis Sanchez, Ozil, Aubameyang, our record sale is 35 million. It's none of those players. Like we sold Henry on a chip. We sold Van Persie on a chip. Let's not do that again. Players like Edin Nketiah, whether people think he's not amazing or anything like that, players like Wan-Bissaka from United, he could be sold for like 30 million. If Man United sold Martial today, they would sell him for like 40 million and he's not played for 2 years. If Chelsea sold Broja today, they would sell him for a lot of money. So even for us, Nketiah is a player who has scored Premier League goals. It's not like he's played in the Premier League and never scored goals. No, he's scored hat-tricks in the Premier League. He's scored braces against United, Chelsea. He scored goals in the Premier League. He definitely knows where the net is. But for the levels that we are right now, the level you're trying to go to compete with Madrid and Man City and those teams, we don't feel like it's sufficient, but I still do think if he goes to like a Crystal Palace or to a Leicester and plays regularly, he can still get them 14 goals or something like that. So Marseille have made him their priority. So let's see how much money they're going to pay for him. They've already signed, I think they're signing Greenwood from Man United. I think it's a here we go. And I heard that they want Greenwood and Nketiah to play together next season at Marseille. So that would be interesting. I'll definitely would like to see how that one works out. Former United player, former Arsenal player, back in the day, they were, built up as going to be incredible for their teams, never worked out. So let's see what happens with Edin Nketiah. That's not the only team that want him. I don't know if he'd like to move abroad. I'd like to know from his perspective if he actually would want to move abroad. It's great for young players like these young English players, just try something new adventure. But teams like Leicester want him, teams like Palace want him. We've heard about Fulham wanting him as well, just like Emil Smith-Rowe. So it's going to be interesting one, an interesting development. Hopefully, I think they're traveling on Sunday to USA, so it's only like 4 days to get a couple of these deals done because we don't have enough players. We have to get a couple of players in, a few youngsters to play the preseason games as well. And for the outgoings, I think it would help if we, sell the player early, a couple of them, and then get that money. Lokonga and Tavares already gone. I think before the preseason, either Smith-Rowe and Nketiah would be, either Nketiah, Smith-Rowe, Nelson. I think at least one of them will go before Arsenal travel on Sunday. But which one? I don't know. Could it be two? I don't know. But let me know what you make about all that. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.